Welcome to Kit Catastrophe. My name is Kit, and today we'll be taking a look at Transformers Energon class Offshoot. This figure came out in 2004 as part of Wave 4 of the Energon assortment, and is a redeco of Energon's Signal Flare. Given that Offshoot is just a straight repaint of Signal Flare without any other major changes, I'll be brief. Offshoot turns into the same model of Maser tank that Signal Flare did, and still looks really weird from every angle. However, I think Offshoot works a little better. The colors themselves are just as garish as Signal Flare's deco, being diarrhea green, deep vivid blue, and an inexplicable flesh tone with accents of orange, dark gray, and bronze. But somehow I feel that the vehicle mode looks more solid and coherent than Signal Flare's did, even though the color placement is more or less the exact same. It's been suggested that the sickly green from Signal Flare should be swapped for Offshoot's deep blue, but while I think it could work on Offshoot, the orange stripes would go well with Offshoot's own orange accents, I don't think this particular shade of blue would look good on Signal Flare. One really odd detail that's been changed from the original to this repaint is the cockpit. What I assume to be the windshield on Signal Flare has been painted gold on Offshoot, and the same dark gray that makes up the bumper has been used to paint over portions of the translucent red pieces up front, suggesting that those are the cockpit windows, which would make Offshoot considerably smaller in scale. I kinda dig the idea of Offshoot and Signal Flare being differentiated like this. Naturally, Offshoot's transformation is identical to Signal Flare's, being a repaint and all. The joints on my copy of Offshoot are far tighter than his mold mates, but that's more likely due to the addles of time than anything else. I would have liked it if Offshoot's normal arm was his right arm, so that you'd have to rotate his torso 90 degrees in the opposite direction, thus resulting in a more unique robot mode, but alas. One problem I do end up having is that the main torso mass tends to get stuck on Offshoot's head sculpt when I try to slide it downwards, which is annoying. Annoying, but ignorable. Offshoot's robot mode is definitely more striking than Signal Flare's. His colors definitely work a lot better, but that's due in part to Offshoot just having more intricate paint detailing, especially on the chest plate. That added dark gray to the translucent plastic, which now forms his hips, also flows really well, seeming like some kind of connective tissue. I do prefer Signal Flare's head coloration over Offshoot's, however. The orange paint brushed onto Offshoot's optical visor is applied way too thinly, and kind of fades into the fleshy tan of his helmet. Offshoot has a copy of all of Signal Flare's accessories, and can of course still combine to form the Energon cutter, albeit Offshoot's translucent plastic is a touch more orange than Signal Flare's, whose own accessories are closer to pink. Being a repaint of Signal Flare, Offshoot's articulation is exactly the same, so I'll be a little briefer here than I was in Signal Flare's video. If you want some more in-depth look at the articulation, just go back to that one. He has nothing at the head, which is disappointing, and there could have been a way to engineer that joint into his sculpt, but as it is, it's just, still disappointing. His arm can move around on the ball joint, it can go all the way out. This one can go out that far, and it can turn all the way around. He has an elbow joint, that's alright. He has no bicep swivel due to this part being too small. He has nothing at the waist, mostly due to transformation, I guess, though there is technically room for a cut right here, but considering all of this, I wouldn't have risked it. At his hips, they can go forward. They can't go backward due to the butt kibble, but they can go outwards all the way due to transformation, and now he looks like a knack-knack, remember those? He has a knee joint that is way too low to look any good, and that's it. Offshoot, take a bow. Energon Offshoot is one of those repaints you never really wanted, but if you had it, it turned out to be pretty enjoyable. I do think his color scheme is marginally better than Signal Flare's, but that doesn't exactly fix all of the issues I had with the mold to begin with. I think Offshoot would rank slightly higher than his mold mate if I were ranking figures against each other, but I just sort of throw figures into bins, so Offshoot still gets stuck with the rank of crummy. If you enjoyed this review or found it otherwise informative or helpful, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Join me for my next review where I round out the 6 Omnicons with Energon Strong Arm. This has been Kit Catastrophe. Transform and roll out.